Toby Wallace, welcome to An Actor Despairs. How you doing, brother?
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm very well considering the circumstances.
Yeah, man, you look great. Your apartment is great. Mine's like very bland, but that's awesome, man. Dude, I'm such a big fan of yours, man. Like, I mean, what you did in Babyteeth is insane. But I love Romper Stomper. And that's how I first kind of became aware of you when they made that. And dude, you're about to like take over the world. I mean, yeah, it's amazing. I've had so many Australian and British actors on the show, and it's just like you guys are. I'll say it, and I've said it before. You're vastly superior. You guys come here and you take our work because I think you guys are just better actors. But
well, that's a very lovely sentiment. I appreciate it, mate.
Yeah, man. But talk to me. So you grew up in Australia, right? Did you?
So originally I'm from England.
Oh, you are.
So I grew up in England till I was about 10 years old, and then I moved over to Australia, to Melbourne in Australia. So I got the worst of both. So
Do you have both passports then?
I actually do. Yeah, I've got dual citizenship. But I've never worked in England, and I've always wanted to. So I think that'll happen hopefully that'll happen at some point. I've always
man.
wanted to go back.
Peaky Blinders, season 6. Let's get you on there. But but dude, talk to me then. So how did that, like growing up in the UK, what did your parents do? Or what?
Yeah, my parents met. My mum is originally from Australia. She grew up in Sydney. My dad's side of the family is very English. He's kind of old school English. And they both met, and they had my brother and my sister in Munich in Germany. And then following that, they moved to England and had me. And then 10 years later, my dad got a promotion. And we could have chosen to live in Cork and Ireland or Melbourne, Australia. And we leant more towards Melbourne at the time. And so I moved over there when I was, I think around 10 or 11. And then I've spent the majority of my time there since.
Do you have a memory of that moment of having to choose? Like in your childhood, do you remember the UK at all?
I mean, it wasn't really up to me, but
it was
true. Ireland. But it was. I don't actually. All I remember really is being quite. I think I was still at that age where everything felt quite genial and jovial and all good. Like I remember moving over, and it was such a big move, but I don't remember having too many mixed feelings about it. I remember being quite happy and chirpy about it, and. I do remember my brother having a hard time because my brother was I guess he would have been about 15, 16 at the time.
So he lost a lot of friends and had to kind of restart his life.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you've got a good foundation of friends and stuff by that point in life, I think. And my sister in the same way a little bit. So I think it was difficult for them, but I got off, I was very happy.
I hear Melbourne's great. Did you love growing up there?
I did. I really enjoyed Melbourne. Yeah, we grew up in the suburbs of Melbourne, so a little bit out from the city, and it was beautiful. I really enjoyed growing up there. I found it a joy. It was lots of space to run around in, quite residential and whatnot. But yeah, it was a joy. I was very happy.
That's amazing. Some of my best friends have a band. They're called Closure in Moscow. They're like. Awesome band. You should check them out. But
cool.
Yeah, man. So then talk to me about so as you got there at 10, what happened acting wise? Did you where was the moment where that kind of path began to open?
Well, I guess what happened was I started, I was always very interested in movie making from a young age. I think I was about 12 when I found my dad's video camera, and I would run around making short films and little movies all the time.
We're talking the mini DV days.
With the tape and everything. Yeah. And I would basically collect all my friends together, and we'd make little short films or movies, or our version of Jackass, or just kind of bits and pieces. I just got obsessed with this video camera and wanted to shoot anything and everything on it. So immediately, I remember at the time making a decision to become a director when I was older.
Wow. Were you doing like the iMovie edits, or what were you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I know it well.
I got actually quite into this sort of, I remember downloading like Adobe
Premiere,
something like After Effects, and downloading all of the, these pre-made like After Effects that
they come like the muzzle flash on the gun.
Exactly. Exactly, man. Yeah, and I loved that stuff.
Yeah, so cool.
We used to bomb around with that stuff all the time. And so we were doing that, but so there's always the interest there, I think, and the creative interest, I guess. But my brother had done drama classes in high school, and I think maybe I basically lent into that and was like, yeah, that would be cool to do some drama classes. That looks like some fun. So I did some drama classes like after school when I was a kid, when I was about maybe 12, 13. And the drama class that I was doing outside school was connected to a little tiny, little management company that did, some auditions for, modeling work and little bits and stuff like that. But so I joined them and then got a few auditions, and then did my first film when I was 13 with a director called Creep Stenders, who's a well-known Australian director who. And at 13, that was just like, I mean, for the previous years, messing around with a video camera and then to step onto a professional film was one of the most, like, it was just so much fun. And I do remember, my mum since has been like, she was my chaperone going on when I was 13 to this film, and she's always said that she was extraordinarily worried about me working on a professional film like that, because I was always quite hard to get the attention of at school. I was quite distracted and a bit of a troublemaker, so she was quite worried about me walking on the thing. But she always said that she's just never seen me so attentive and like, I was just like, I wanted everything to do with it, and I was behind the director's back the entire movie.
Amazing.
He was so welcoming to the whole thing, like scenes I wasn't in, I was with him at the monitor, and he was teaching me everything and showing me shots and tricks, and it was a gem of a thing to do at that age.
So talk to me, when you were doing those short films, were you acting in them as well?
Yeah.
So it wasn't like your first acting, moment.
I guess not. No.
Yeah, that's amazing. So then talk to me about, like, you go from these DIY Jackass style films to on this, maybe $1 million set. Was that like, did you have an idea of the gravity of that as a kid, or?
I look, I don't think so. I guess not, because it was the gravity in terms of pressure. No.
Yeah.
I don't think I felt any type of pressure at that age. At that age, it was all just extreme fun and experimentation and just a joy to figure out. I remember just having so much fun, like realizing that of the like collaboration and like using your own ideas, and that you can bring all of your own ideas. I mean, you're walking on set, you're saying other people's lines and you're doing your thing, but all of the collaborative process and the conversations you can have with the actor and the director was just so was so sick to me. I just remember being so enamored by that, and the other actors and whatnot. I remember the scene in that movie. There was there's this scene where one character is giving the gold over to the person who's playing my dad, or maybe I'm taking the gold. That's right. We were talking about me taking the gold from the enemy, basically, who was passing away, and that he gives me the photograph of my family. And we had this large chat about it. And I remember at that age being like, I would never do that. Isn't the point of the film that I'm not about the gold, that I'm all about the family, that I want, home is where the heart is where the family is, and taking the photograph. And we ended up doing it that way. And that was just so exciting to me that you could have that impact on the process with everybody,
That's so beautiful. And then when that film wrapped, were you able to navigate rep through that, or did you already have it at that point?
Yes, there was an actor on the film who ended up, I think, passing over a agent's details to me, and she is now my Australian agent that I've been with ever since.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so cool, man. And talk to me, like, in Australia, living in Melbourne, like, I know Australian film, like, I'm a huge Chris Lilly fan, and, I know there's so many amazing, obviously, like Ben, there's so much
Yeah.
talent coming out of there, but when you guys consume cinema there, is it mainly local, or is it a big mix of American and everything going on?
We consume a lot of American stuff. I think we're walking in the stride of America in a lot of ways, especially with pop culture, I guess. But yeah, a lot of American stuff. I think we watch pretty similar stuff to what you guys watch in terms of our stuff that we make ourselves. Though, there's some really good Australian television, but in terms of films, I mean, there's not really blockbusters in Australia.
Yeah.
The majority of the films that are released are more or less passion projects, and I think that's why you get so, people's portrayal of Australian cinema is so indie based. Is because
Got
that's
it.
the truth of it.
That's amazing. That's very fascinating. And then when you were with this Australian rep, because I know, like Baz Luhrmann and I think like maybe even the Pacific and other American productions shoot in Australia, were you auditioning for American stuff as well, or just Australian?
Yeah, it seems to be the thing that you slowly in the Australian industry, you more or less begin to gravitate towards doing American work at some point in your career.
Got it.
If you're lucky enough to have some longevity to it. But it kind of seems to be the aim of the game is to eventually make your way over here, because this is just where you can make a living of it, I think, unless you're doing television and whatnot in Australia. It's like this is kind of where you can make a bit of money and make a living.
Even for your co-star Ben Mendelsohn, it wasn't really until he came here that he kind of became the thing, right? Like he had success in Australia, I know, but it was like here where he became the global sensation that he is.
Yeah, I mean, he's a veteran Australian actor, and he's always been around. So in Australia, he was always very well known, especially in the industry, obviously. But yeah, I don't think it was until he did Animal Kingdom that his career blasted off, and so well it should have.
Yeah.
I mean, he's unbelievably good at what he does, and just what he does with characters, it's just so unique what he does with characters. I just haven't seen people portray.
Yeah, I was rewatching The Dark Knight Rises, and I forgot he's in that as well.
Man. Yeah. With Tom Hardy putting his
asking who's in control. So then talk to me, like when you get knighted with that first credit, did you I know Heath was probably younger at this point. Was there someone's career that you were like, that's what I want to do?
It's hard not it's hard not to always have Heath a little bit in the back of your head, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe especially as an Australian, but I don't know. I think it's hard not to see that gentleman as following an unbelievably diverse and powerful line of jobs he did, but Ben as well, in all honesty, I think the further I get into this job, the more I feel like you don't, not to take it too seriously, and I think I was fixated for such a long time about doing the right job and like something that was going to be exactly right, and that was going to be just something of like expert like quality and all of that. But the more I'm doing it, the more I'm realizing that it's so hard to tell whether a project is going to turn out this way or that way, or whether it's going to be, I mean, it's just so hard to do. And if you feel like you gravitate towards a character or the writing, especially, just do it, you know, just do it and don't, and just don't take it all too seriously, you know?
Yeah, that's a great, I as an actor, I totally second that. But talk to me then about.
Did you train as an actor as well?
Yeah, I did. I went to NYU.
You went to NYU? Oh,
yeah. I'm an actor. What'd you say?
T-shirt?
Well, this is New York Theater Workshop. This is like a off-Broadway theater where like Daniel Craig did Othello there, but it's like 90 seats.
Right.
So it's like a really respected. I don't even think it's off Broadway. It's off Broadway. And
okay, cool.
So, but like you'll get like Oscar Isaac was gonna. Basically, I think off Broadway means you have to be in the Broadway area. Off Broadway means you have to be above 500 seats, and then anything below 500 seats is off Broadway. Yeah,
right. But, this is where you're saying that's where Oscar Isaac was.
So Daniel Craig did Othello there, and then Oscar Isaac was going to do the Three Sisters with Greta Gerwig, but COVID canceled it. So postponed it.
Right.
Yeah, but then. Sorry, we're getting sidetracked here. It's not about me. It's about you, brother. But so then talk to me about training-wise. Did you get in a class? Did you find a teacher? Like I was talking to Daisy Edgar Jones and Paul Mescal from Normal People when they were on the show, and they told me, like, you know, acting coaches aren't really a thing in the UK. Are they in Australia?
Really?
Yeah.
That surprises me. It's not really in Australia either. A little bit. I have had a couple in Australia just from choice though. So basically what happened was I think I hit maybe like 17, 18, and there's a school called 16th Street in Australia that have pulled a lot of American acting coaches out to Australia to do these master classes. So I did a series of, I think I probably did like 5 master classes with them over the course of 2 to 3 years or something. And which were all pretty damn incredible, and you learn a lot from them. One thing that I pulled from all of them though is that you kind of want to be, a lot of them were about empowering. A lot of them weren't even about acting particularly. They were more about empowering yourself and feeling empowered. I guess to have the confidence to walk on stage and make a risky choice. You have to feel like you're on your own 2 feet. You know, that was maybe the base. That was like the cornerstone lesson that I think that I got from all of them, is that you need to have yourself, whatever that means.
No, so it was theatrical training you were doing.
Yeah. It would be, it would be like Larry Moss or Elizabeth Camp or any of them.
Do you guys do like Elizabethan classics, like, William Shakespeare as well? Or,
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think we ever did with those master classes, but we would do kind of like the, Chekhov and,
So the other classics.
Yeah.
Is there a big Australian theater scene?
There is a bit, yeah. We try our hardest.
Yeah, that's great. We'll have to get you and Hugh and some of the other Aussies to come back and do something.
We will have to come back. Yeah, we're all over a number. We'll have to come back. I had a friend who was actually doing a Broadway play, poor thing, and it all got closed down. Eliza from the film.
Oh, which one was she doing?
She was doing To Kill a Mockingbird.
No way, she was in that?
Yeah, man. They were dead set. Well, I think they were towards the latter half of the season, but it all got
man. Oh, I would have loved to have seen her in that. Oh, what a bummer.
I know. Apparently, it all went very well, though.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, then talk to me when you hit 18. What was like, was college something that weighed on you, or was it like,
you know what? I never did. I haven't done college. I never went to college. And I always feel like I missed out a little bit. I always felt like I still feel like I want to, and I think I probably will in the end. Probably not for acting.
Yeah.
I've thought a little bit about going for directing, but even with directing, I feel like doing jobs is kind of your best college experience of
learning by doing.
How to learn to be a director. I mean, you just want to being on set is the best place you can be. So acting has been very so evolved to that as a dream. But if any other interest that I have, I think I'm going to pursue, and I think I will do college eventually, because I've always felt like I missed out on that a little bit, or like I wanted to do that. I think at a young age, when I was almost at my 20s, I felt a little bit like who needs it?
Yeah.
Because I think I had quite a bit of luck up to that point with acting, and I kind of wanted to pursue a career where I didn't have to do that. I could kind of run my line.
Yeah.
But I think I actually will. I think I will go to college.
That's great, man. You definitely should. So then when you were 18, did you stay
in college?
Yeah, I did. I went to NYU, and then I dropped out. Then I went on tour with a rock band and went down a dark path with drugs and alcohol, and then came back and finished and sober now. But,
awesome.
Man.
Great.
Yeah.
How long sober?
If I make it to December, 4 years.
Oh, my man. Well done, man.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah. Day at a time. Not easy during this shit, but
I hear that.
Yeah. So then at 18, where did you go?
At 18, what was I doing? At 18, I think I'd done a film called, so for year 12, so the last year of high school in Australia, basically what I did is I did distance education, because I thought I was doing this film, Boys in the Trees, that year. And it didn't end up happening. So I did distance education, which means you're basically just doing your whole school online, right? So you're just sending in all your stuff and you're doing all the work yourself, basically. And I did that over 2 years, which was kind of bizarre and a little bit of a nightmare. But, I'd be doing, exams while I was like in Spain, or like you traveling around or whatnot. Wow. So that was interesting. And I think it was hard at the time because it was a decision that I'd made, and then the film didn't happen, and nothing happened for a little while, where I was kind of sat at home, at the family house for God knows how long.
Were your parents supportive, or were they like, yo, you got to figure something out?
Yeah, no, they were supportive. They were really supportive. Yeah, they were supportive. Mum and Dad have always been very supportive.
That's great.
But it was a hard time, and I think it's kind of the battle. I mean, every actor's battle, as you probably know, is just sitting around waiting for the job, and how to fill that time and make sure that you're filling that time. Make sure that you're actually doing something and not kind of playing a victim to that space. And so anyway, after that, I think I eventually did that film, did some travel and stuff for a while. We had a film that went to I think at that age, I had a film that went to the Berlin Film Festival. So
you crushed the fucking indie film circuit, man. God damn. I got to get your fucking credit record, dude. You're playing it, brother.
Yeah, it was well, it's the only thing you can do in Australia.
Yeah.
But then, and then after that, it was kind of just diving into kind of doing masterclasses and bits and pieces, and trying to do some work again. And then I remember, I think at 21, I moved into an apartment in Fitzroy, which is kind of like it's probably a little bit like the Williamsburg of Melbourne.
Okay, cool.
And that was great. I mean, it was bananas, but it was like me and two of my housemates in this crummy actually it was really nice, but it was but we made it crummy.
Yeah, living the dream.
Yeah, dude, it was you know, I think I would wake up in bed and light a cigarette and walk from my bedroom to the kitchen and, you know, like make breakfast, then have a beer. It was like,
oh God, love that, man. Yeah, that's awesome.
But so that was good fun, and I started doing a theatre show at the time called Skylight, which is David Hare play.
Oh, I love David Hare
at the Melbourne Theatre Company, which was so much fun. And I hadn't done a professional theatre play until that point, so that was kind of my first experience of walking on stage. And it was, and I thought it would. You know, I kind of walked on stage generally in those master classes and some training and stuff that I'd done beforehand and, you know, stuff in school. But I think at that age, I'd finally reached the point where the pressure had caught up, I think. And what I did now mattered, you know, not really to anyone in particular, but to me. You know, it was like I had something to prove to myself. And there was a lot of pressure that I would put on myself. And I mean, with that theatre show, it was like every single night I was so terrified of going on stage.
Wow.
And what I would do, and I thought it would end, and I don't think it ended until I think it went all the way through the last show. So I was absolutely terrified of going on stage.
Well, that's the beauty.
But you know, when you go on stage, it's all good. You get on there and
That's amazing. And then when you did like Romper Stomper, you know, did you have the idea of that film being, you know, the icon that it was, you know?
The Romper Stomper, the TV show?
Yeah.
So that was, I mean, the film was like a mammoth, you know, like every Australian, you know, like, you know that film, and
every American that like knows anything about film loves that, you know?
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's huge. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that. I thought it was kind of the American History X, and then we had our Romper Stomper. And
man, I would say Romper Stomper was as big, if not bigger, than American History X here.
Really? Yeah. I did not know that.
Yeah, man, it was huge, and that's why that's how I knew of it when you did the TV show, because like there were a lot of people that had, you know, I mean, to be honest, mixed feelings about it. But what was it like being a part of that?
That was awesome. Jeffrey Wright, who directed Romper Stomper and directed a couple of episodes and wrote the TV show with us, was, you know, I remember walking and doing an audition with him, and right away he's quite an intense individual, but he just loves actors. He just loves them. He loves them. And he just wants, he's so encouraging. I remember doing I think I did the first audition, maybe the second audition, and then he called me before I'd gotten the role, and I think we talked for like an hour, and he talked about, I think he'd seen a film I did called Boys in the Trees, and he was talking about what he'd seen me do and what he hadn't seen me do and what he thought I was capable of, and for like an hour, and was just so encouraging and supportive, and I just I don't think I'd ever fucking seen anything like that before. He was just so lovely about the whole thing. Anyway, so but walking onto that was, I remember doing the audition for it, and you know, the character is a evil, meticulous, you know, like he's a piece of work. But I think you can fall into the trap of playing that, you know, or trying to pander to the totally. You know, if you see a malevolent character, you want them to look malevolent. But I remember walking the audition and being like, just don't. There's got to be some way to make this. The information, I think the audition was like a monologue or something that he was saying to the crew, to the group. And I came in and I was like, just take this as relaxed as possible, go in there totally relaxed and really enjoy the monologue. Take all the time that you need. You know, I went in and I read through the scene once or twice with the reader, and I said, okay, yeah, I'm ready. And I put the pages down. and I just tried to enjoy it, like have just enjoy every single word and just take heaps of time, and that just seemed to be that just totally seemed to be the energy of the character, you know.
Oh, that's so beautiful, man. And then how was filming? Was that amazing?
Yeah, it was awesome, dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
Filming that was great. Filming that. I mean, when you've got, you know, like there's like, you know, 15 to 20 of these guys who are all, we're all trying to be, as you know, just as unpleasant as one another.
Yeah.
And that just became a whole lot of fun. I mean, we definitely got carried away. We definitely got carried away at parts. Because there's so much, you're all trying to, like, you know, drum each other up, and
totally
it's like
one up, and yeah,
and it's this feeling of like just kind of like aggressive and just kind of laddie boyish, you know, bish bosh that would just kind of escalate and escalate, which on screen looks very unpleasant, but in real life it was quite a lot of fun. But it was a gem to work on. It was so much fun. It was so good. I don't think it was the first role that I'd ever done that was like that had some velocity to it. Like, you know, it was the first time I felt like I was a man, that I had grown up, that I had, that I was not a teenager.
You weren't a boy anymore, you know.
I didn't feel like I was a boy anymore. Yeah.
That's beautiful, man. And then, you know, for time's sake, I know you had a lot of other amazing films, but let's jump into Babyteeth. How did that project come your way?
So Babyteeth, I got the script and read it, and the writing is, I mean, you know, when you just like read writing and you just like, it's just so easy. I always find
just interrupt. Like, I talk on this podcast the difference between good acting and great acting, and like, you're a great actor. Good acting is just like personalities, and what you did with Moses, like no one else could have played that, man. Like it was so interesting, and just like it was so three-dimensional, and just like the polarity of kind of where he's at and mixed with her, and it was amazing. So I can't imagine anyone else playing the role. So I almost feel like in some ways it was like written for you, you know?
I appreciate that, mate. That's very lovely of you. Look, it always comes down, for me, it always comes down to the writing, whether the writing's really good, right? And whether that's something that you connect with, and that makes your job easier, because it does. It makes your job unbelievably easy if the writing's good. But on top of that, every now and again, you do get a character that you read it and you just go like, oh, that's so close to me, you know? And the trick then is to not try to do too much with it, I think. So, I mean, like, I remember reading the script and just think, like, I mean, his sense of humor and you know, the tumultuousness that's going on with him and everything was just so damn relatable. And it was then just a job of not getting in my own way, I think.
Wow. Was it a long audition process, or?
So from what I remember, I think I did a self-tape with a friend, and that felt really good. That felt really great. The dialogue was so easy to play with and have fun with, and we sent that in, and then I went and met up with Shani, the director.
Yeah.
And I remember meeting up with her I was walking in to tape with someone who was possibly playing Miller.
Yeah.
So I taped with her, and then Shani had me stay to read with the next two girls. So
chemistry read style?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so I just did that with Shani all day, and that all felt really good. And it gave me a chance to play with the character a lot in the room with Shani.
Yeah.
And that was so that day was kind of sick, and it felt very good after that. It felt very I think me and Shani kind of walked out going,
we got this.
Yeah.
And when Eliza walked into the room, did it all change?
I never read with Eliza. And
way.
Months fucking later, I was in Boston doing a TV show in America, And Eliza at the time was doing Little Women,
Wow.
which was also shooting in Boston.
Yeah.
And Eliza was friends with a girl who was doing the show with me. And so one day I had like maybe 5 friends over from the show over to my house. And you know, the girl was like, oh, can I bring my friend Eliza? She's doing a show out here, doing a movie out here. And I said, yeah, of course. So Eliza actually came to my house in Boston in the middle of Massachusetts.
No way.
And you know, we had a couple of glasses of wine this night and she went away. And about a week or 2 later, I heard that she got the role in Babyteeth, and I was like, that girl
No way.
At my house in like Belmont, Massachusetts, near, you know, like, it's just totally bizarre. And I think she'd done a couple tapes a while before that, and Shannon had come to the realization that the way Shani tells it is that she couldn't figure out exactly. She had such trouble figuring out who Miller was herself.
Yeah.
And she was still at the drawing board, kind of months later, maybe a year later. And
So you were the first attached to this?
No, I think Ben and Essie was.
Okay.
Essie was attached. Essie was actually attached to a previous group who were going to do Babyteeth, the previous director and stuff that ended up not happening, and then she kind of followed the trail and was doing it, and then Ben, and then me, and then Eliza.
Wow.
Yeah.
And did you guys get on that night? Like, I hope you did.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, I remember us getting. Yeah, I remember us. Yeah, we really did get along. Yeah, we did. Yeah. It was super weird. And then it was so easy because it was so, you know, I remember going and doing rehearsals and me and Eliza started hanging out immediately. I always think it's just...
Where did you guys film? In Australia?
Yeah, we filmed in Sydney.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So I got back, I think I got back from doing this TV show. She got back from doing Little Women. I had about 2 days, you know, in Melbourne for Christmas and some celebrations with family and friends. And then went directly to Sydney on like the 1st of January to start rehearsals on Babyteeth and start getting smack bang into it.
Wow.
And so that was an unbelievably crazy time.
Wait, so there was, for a film of this kind of heavy and the gravity of a lot of the scenes, you guys did have rehearsal?
We did, yeah. Yeah, we did, yeah. And I guess like because in America you don't do too many rehearsals.
Oh man, it's so rare that you ever get that, you know?
Yeah, and I feel that's actually one of the things in Australia that we do kind of get right. I've always loved rehearsals. I think they're so you can just see it. Like you can just see the way that rehearsals affect the movie. It's like it just that time to prepare and to chat and to talk and to get on the same level and to play and actually just start playing so that you're not like walking on set and like, what am I doing? You know? Cause you know, when you walk onto a project and everything's so, I mean, until the second week into it, you're like, you've no idea what you're doing.
Like I can share this because he shared it on this podcast. This actor who I love very much, Glenn Fleshler, was in The Joker with Joaquin Phoenix, and Joaquin doesn't do rehearsal. And they talked about how, like, you know, for the first 3 weeks, the character was so different than what we saw that they ended up reshooting it because it just wasn't there. And you know that's his process. He likes to discover it in takes, and you know. So it's interesting how, you know, I guess both sides work, you know.
Well, I think, but I think it's also the thing. What strikes me about Joaquin Phoenix is that it seems very much like he's laser focused with moment to moment stuff, right? Yeah. It's why he can give such unhinged performances and have it so believable and naturalistic and feel so in the moment, is that he's just obsessed with, you know, like choices that he's making in the moment, you know, and he's got this very unpredictable nature about him because he almost seems unspecific. And I know he's a very you know, like from the way that he talks about the way that he approaches characters, he's obviously does this immense amount of work and gets very specific with background stuff, but it's just with the acting style. And but I've always found that, and I think I'm in the middle somewhere, but I've always lent a little bit more towards that kind of stuff. And but I've never found that rehearsals gets in the way of that. I think it's like it's the start of playing for me. It's like you get to begin to make choices so that on the day you've got a range to choose from, and you can switch it up, and you can mess with the other person, and you can joke and taunt and laugh, and you have all these, you know, like intentions and objectives you can choose from to do that moment to moment stuff, I think, you know.
And that really helps solidify the chemistry between, you know, Moses and Mila. Is that how you say it? Mila. Was that like in the rehearsal? Do you feel like, okay, we got this, we're going to be all right?
I reckon, because it's so, and I mean, like, just even in rehearsals, part of that is hanging out. It's just hanging out.
Getting to know.
Just hanging out.
Yeah.
You know, and that does so much of the work for you as well. So and we got along. I mean, Liza's just an absolute sweetheart. I mean, I got along extraordinarily well. So
it was such a beautiful film. And how was it for you? You know, you said obviously you knew who Ben was. Getting in the ring with him, was that awesome?
Dude, that was like, Ben was one of my favorite actors ever. So, like, I remember watching Bloodline and being like,
oh, he's one of my favorites too.
I know, dude. Did you see Bloodline?
Yeah, man. Of course I see Bloodline. He's amazing.
That damn character was so, like, just the way that he handles characters, I just have not seen that before. That scene with him and Sam Shepard where he's asking for money.
Oh.
You know.
Have you ever seen A Place Beyond the Pines?
Yeah.
I mean, dude, all respect to Ryan Gosling, he's great, but like, that motherfucker out-acted Ryan Gosling and stole the show. You know what I mean? Like, that was Ben Mendelsohn's movie, dude.
I love there's this scene where they're celebrating one of their first heists or something. Maybe
and they're dancing.
And that's just Ben. That's Ben. You know.
Man.
And he's such a joy to work with because he's so. I mean, he's insane. He like walks on set with like speakers and just plays like gangster rap music all day.
I've heard that. So that is true.
And apparently he's just been doing it for years. He's just like, that's
so awesome, man.
And he, but a lot of it I think is to release energy. You know, you can see him really like, and he comes on set and he's making like 42 jokes and he's talking to like 50 people at once and he's screaming and doing this and that and
so he's not like method and eating lunch by
no,
himself.
Just having fun. Just having fun. And then he's mad as a hatter. He'll come on and he'll just like smash heaps of coffee and cordial and this, that, and the other. And, you know, he's got heaps of energy and he's kind of releasing it. And I began to realize what he was doing because he would, you know, like, I think me and him were on the same page a little bit in terms of like we could relate to each other. I often find it hard to get rid of to not walk on to set with a bit of fear and anxiety and, you know, like I would have conversations to him. He'd be like, dude, I get it. Like, I understand. Like, I just don't want to suck, you know, I just don't want to suck so bad.
Yeah.
But then he would be like, you know, you just don't worry. I get it. You just don't need to worry too much. Just remember to relax. And I realized what he was doing every day was just releasing energy, getting everybody else's energy up, you know, so that when action is called, you're not thinking, you know, you're not like worried about what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
And as long as, I think if you're in the scene and you're not thinking about the next line or what's going to happen next or what the next thing is, and you're genuinely there and you're not sure what's going to happen next, then the audience aren't going to know what's going to happen next. So
it's living, not anticipating. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can't anticipate. Yeah.
Well, then, I mean, obviously, because we got a limited amount of time, talk to me about then having this amazing movie and then, it goes away for a bit and you see it cut and then you got to do the film festival circuit. Like when you saw the cut, were you blown away, or did you already know when you walked away from it that it was good? Because you said before, you never know.
Dude, I knew, look, dude, I knew from the moment that I read the script that the movie was going to be sick.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't read a script that good.
Wow.
So I knew immediately it was going to be a dope movie. I knew it was going to be a sick movie.
Yeah. When
I watched it for the first time, I loved the movie. I thought I'd ruined it.
Oh, that you didn't at all. It's a natural. I think we all have that repulsion to like seeing ourselves,
Yeah. I really believed it. I really believed that I ruined it. It was like terrifying to me.
Oh no. Well, you didn't at all, man. I think Venice Film Festival, awarded you Best Actor for a reason.
I couldn't have been more surprised by that.
What was that like? Talk to me, because obviously there's Sundance and there's Tribeca in America, but there's a great Sam Shepard quote that Americans make movies and Europeans make cinema. You know what I mean? And so Venice and Cannes, those aristocratic, real cinema festivals. What did it feel like navigating that?
It was pretty cool. Venice was a ride. It was
because you come on a boat to the premiere, don't you?
Yeah.
It's so sick, dude.
Yeah, it's great. Have you been?
I know. I mean, I went to fucking Milan and I was so close to going.
Oh, let's go.
I hated it. I wish I would have went to Venice. Milan's so boring. It's you see two things and then you're like, all right, well, that's Milan.
I think, how did I get there? I think you arrive on the train. So you kind of come across the water on the train, which is beautiful. And then, you get to the docks and you get on a boat and everybody's going in 100 different directions. And, there's all of these islands around. And you take a boat to, your hotel or something. But it was, I mean, it's spectacular. I remember getting there and I think I got there. It was kind of crazy trying to get there on time, or, there was a bit of bish bosh. And then I remember arriving and us going to this, dinner, the dinner, whatever the dinner was, at the museum, one of these museums. So we're taking a boat and we all get suited up and dressed up. And, the four of us, me and Shani and Eliza and Shani's husband, Dan, and we went to this kind of museum dinner thing, and we're walking through this museum. There's it's 3 stories. There's no one in there. Wow. There's just one person showing us around, and I'm like, okay. And then, we're going in one room. There's all these amazing just kind of things everywhere. And I'm like, this is just a beautiful city. I don't even know what we're doing here. Yeah. And then I go over and there's someone explaining some artwork to these 3 people, and I stand next to them. And then I suddenly realized that the person is Todd Phillips, and I'm standing next to Joaquin Phoenix. And
oh my God! So you were there during the Joker premiere?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And then we all go upstairs to dinner, and we're all just having this beautiful Italian dinner up on this rooftop. Wow. It was days like that it just what?
What the fuck? Yeah. So then, at what point was it at that festival, or before that you finally realized oh, I'm not. I didn't ruin the movie. I know it's hard for.
Well, so the premiere happened, right, and that all went very well, and it was that big thing and the standing ovation. I think even at that point I felt a bit dark about it. I was so happy about the movie and about and just about the reception in general, but I still hadn't. I was still not convinced, and then. But then, and then the closing night came, and I remember that morning, publicist came up and was like, "Oh, they're just saying maybe you prepare a little bit of something if something happens, if you want to do something." And I was like, "What?" And he was like, "If you want to prepare a little bit of something, you might want to prepare a little bit of something." And I was like, "What?" And then and then I was like, "Okay, I don't know what he's talking about. It's probably nothing."
Yeah.
I go to my hotel room and I'm like, I'll just prepare. I'll remember everyone's name.
Yeah, I'll write names.
I'll just who's I'll think this person. And then we go to the night, and it's it's huge. I mean, the auditorium is massive. That theater is huge, and we go in there for the awards thing. And we're sitting there in the aisles, and walking is like in the aisle next to us, and there's this person there and this person there, and then we're halfway through the thing, and I think I turned to Shannon like just as they got to the young actor thing, and I turned to her and I was like, "Do you think I have time to just go to the bathroom?" And then they said my name, and I was like. I'm like, what?
So did you remember everyone's name?
I did remember his name, but everything else I just came out of. I was almost happy that I didn't make it, because I was happy that I didn't make a speech because
because it can be a little pretentious and
I could kind of have a laugh about it,
Yeah.
and it felt very a little bit more from the heart.
Yeah, totally. Versus
squishy as that sounds.
Preaching about some kind of world poverty issue incident. Sorry.
I didn't get to that.
Yeah. Next time. We'll do it again. Well, dude, that's awesome.
It was cool. And then when I was up there, I just felt a lot of pride for the film, and
as you should, man. You
and for everybody. Everybody involved in it. I just felt a lot of pride about it,
As you should. Well, dude, I got so much pride and proud of you, man. What's next for you?
Well, we were about to, 5 days before COVID shut the world down, we were about to fly to Boston, Massachusetts, to film the second season of The Society, which is
the Netflix show. Yeah.
But so that's been postponed for a while. But auditions seem to be popping in again. Things seem to be moving. There are projects that are definitely being put together. I've heard through friends that there's some shows that are going ahead in August, possibly.
Yeah.
So things seem to be moving.
Yeah.
In a direction. I think everyone's unsure, but people are pushing ahead.
That's great. And are you here in the States full time now?
I am. Yeah. I'm gonna stick it here. I may even stick it out here until my visa runs out, which I think I've got another year and a half on. But,
amazing. Well, dude, come visit me in New York. We'll hang out. We'll have a time.
Yeah, dude. I think I'm actually coming out there in a couple of weeks. So yeah.
Oh, yeah. Are you on Instagram?
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
All right. So I'll shoot you a follow message, dude. Toby.
Yeah, man. Yeah, please do.
Thanks so much, man. I got so much love for you, man. And
thank you, man. Yeah, you too, man. It was a pleasure. Thank you so much.
And dude, I'm so proud of you. And Babyteeth's out now, it's gonna be out this week, right?
Yes, it just came out on 19th. It came out in America. Yeah.
All right, amazing. So everyone check out Babyteeth. Toby absolutely crushed it. So did Eliza and Ben and everyone and Shannon. Dude, I love you, brother. I'm so excited, and hopefully I'll see you in a few weeks in New York.
Thank you, mate. I appreciate it, man. It was my pleasure.
Yeah, cheers, dude. So much love. All right, later, brother.
Much love.